Good evening, viewers. This is Attorney Naresham Giri, and welcome to the show and a very important show about recent changes that are going to be implemented from October 15th. This is about the public charge rule, which was actually stayed for a long time because there was a decision from the Second Circuit, and due to that, there was a stay. But at this time, the court has cleared the injunction. So, therefore, from now onwards, immigration is going to implement the public charge rule. So, under Section 212A4, 212A4 of the Immigration and Nationality Act, the government, which means immigration, is going to look at whether or not there is a strong likelihood of a person becoming a public charge in the United States of America. A public charge is something when a person takes a public benefit. For example, if you're going to take food stamps, if you're going to abuse the law, or if you're going to get into housing, or if you're going to become very much dependent on the government of the United States, then you will be barred from getting your green card if the government considers that you are a public charge. So they're going to look at an aggregate of a 12-month period. So they're going to look at your entire character, basically the benefits character, for a period of 12 months from the beginning in order to see whether it is likely or not that you will become a public charge. Very important, folks, and it is a bit scary, but this is what the law would be. So, what becomes important is Section 213A of the Immigration and Nationality Act. Why is that so important? This is important because they're going to look at the fact whether the alien commonly means a foreigner who is in the United States and who is actually applying for the green card will become a public charge, which means he will become dependent upon the government. So, if that is the case, that will be a ground of inadmissibility for a person to get his or her green card in the United States of America. So, that's some very important news. So, the public charge is also going to apply to people who enter the United States of America. So they're going to look at many different factors. And then the immigration officer is going to make a determination whether or not the person is going to become a public charge. Now, the sad thing about these rules, the sad thing is that the implementation date is not October 15, which means immigration is going to look at cases that were filed from October 24th, sorry, from uh, February 24th, my apologies, from February 24th until the current time and going forward. So that makes it very, very important for us to understand the consequences of the public charge rule. Very important, very much that you need to be careful if you're taking benefits. So, what are they going to look at if you're going to abuse the benefits? And they're going to see what you've done in the past 12-month period. Then immigration is going to make a determination. So, that is very important. And what should people do? Try not to take public benefits, food stamps, abusing the law, taking government housing, just basically, getting healthcare benefits for non-emergency healthcare benefits. Those things are going to be seen very, very important. Don't take any cash from the government. Or, of course, I tell people very often one of the biggest mistakes they make in an application, any regular application, is that they mark this particular slot that they are an American citizen, and especially when they're not citizens. That's a serious, serious issue for you, not only from the perspective of being called as a public charge, but it becomes very, very important even when you are not a public charge. So, because calling yourself a US citizen, it's a very, very serious issue in this country. And, that if you look at the law on the point, that falls under the false claims to US citizenship. Even if you voted improperly, that is a problem. in this country if you lied on your application, but then you applied for a job, when you said you're an American citizen. That's a big problem. So be very careful when you are applying for immigration benefits. The reason I brought the citizenship interview uh, uh, thing up, especially that you said you're a US citizen, is because there are some governmental entities that they give you benefits because you stated on your application that you are an American citizen. So be very careful about this public charge. And there's a new form that is being implemented. That is form number 944. And that's the form you will have to fill out when you are going to apply for your adjustment of status in the United States of America. Few other good things about it, which I need you to know, is that it does not apply to refugees. If you're a refugee, you don't have to worry about it. That's the good news for refugees. For people who have asylums, and if their asylum gets granted, and after your asylum gets granted, you all know that you have to wait for 1 year. And after that 1 year, you are eligible to apply for adjustment of status. So in that instance, even if you have taken a public benefit, which means that if you took food stamps or if you took public housing, that would not apply to you. So they cannot bar you under Section 213A of the Act or under 212 A4 of the Act from becoming a public charge. That is very critical and important for all our viewers to know as to how the public charge definition is going to work out. It also does not apply to battered spouses. Battered spouses fall under the Violence Against Women's Act. So these are people who are abused by their spouses. It can be a male or a female. And because of the abuse factors involved and because of the extreme cruelty involved that is witnessed by the spouse, or it can also be witnessed by a child who has parents who are actually abusing him. So the example here would be that if you're under 21 and if your mother or your father, who's a green card holder or a citizen, is abusing you and you are applying as a battered child, and if your application gets approved, then when you apply for adjustment of status, even if you have taken benefits, it's not going to apply to you. So that's an exception to the rule. Now, also battered spouses and violence against the Women's Act is commonly confused in these matters. So even if you're married to a member of the same sex and if you're abused, the good thing is that when you apply for your adjustment of status, the public charge rule will not apply in these cases. There are some other exceptions. It does not apply to victims of trafficking, which means like if you have been trafficked into this country, if you've been smuggled into this country, and if you're forced into prostitution or someone just smuggled you in this country against your will, and you've been a victim of smuggling in this country. So those are T visas, T as in Tom, and for people who have been smuggled into this country, uh, and if they get approved, and when they apply for the green cards, the good thing for you is that this particular law under Section 212A4 of the Immigration and Nationality Act will not apply. So these are some of the exceptions and some of the things which I need to read out to you, which are very important for you to know. And I'm going to read a list which I have created for my viewers especially as to what would constitute a public charge and what are the things that you need to avoid in order to basically make sure that you don't get kind of, you don't get kind of, uh, in this vulnerable situation, wherein you don't get involved in the situation wherein your application will be denied. So benefits included for public charge, cash support for income maintenance. Don't take cash from the government. Just don't basically abuse the law and ask for cash because exactly you need it. Non-emergency Medicaid. What is non-emergency Medicaid? You just went and you don't have an emergency. What does the government expect you to do? They expect you to pay for it. And I think that's pretty much fair. Because what people are doing, they're just going into hospitals for a simple thing. And then after that, they want to basically get the green cards in this country and say that, hey, well, I didn't pay for this. That is not going to be allowed. Now, again, I must repeat something, which is very important over here, is that they're going to look at it during the 12-month period. So if you're more than two, it's not good for you. But immigration officers will have a lot of discretion in ensuring whether they need to grant the application or deny the application. So they are going to look into the totality of circumstances before they approve or deny your green card. And if they see that if a person is abroad and if it is likely that this particular person will become a public charge, I'm sorry, you'll be stuck abroad for a long time. So things are changing a lot, and they also want to make sure that you have insurance and if how you're going to cover it. So also they are going to look into another factor, whether it is likely whether that particular foreign national will become a public charge. Now we don't know how they are going to actually judge that. It's going to be on a case by case basis. So we spoke about two factors. One's are people who are in the United States and they're going to apply for their green cards. Doesn't matter whether it's an employment-based category or whether it's any other category. So people from the employment-based category have been asking me whether are we also going to be subject to it? Of course, if you are abusing benefits, doesn't matter whether you are adjusting as a priest or whether you're going to adjust based upon under the family-based immigration category, employment-based immigration category, or self-sponsored category in certain cases like the EB1A, or I mean under the the intra-company transfer was an LB1A manager. But as I mentioned, the exceptions are very clear: battered spouses, U visa holders, refugees, asylees, victims of trafficking. Those five categories, you don't have to worry about it. Now let's look at, we said one of them, they're going to go after people who are taking cash support for income maintenance. Second one is non-emergency Medicaid, which we discussed. Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP or food stamps. Of course, they don't expect you to go and apply for food stamps when you are a foreigner in this country. And you have to be careful not to take food stamps. And therefore, better thing is to just ask someone to help you with some food. Go to a church if you cannot afford food. Go to a temple or go to a mosque and make sure that you get some food arrangements, or go to a synagogue, whatever it is, and ask your friends to help you. But do not take the food stamp program, especially if you are intending to live in this country and apply for a green card for the future. Third one, which I already mentioned, housing assistance, public housing or Section 8 housing vouchers and rental assistance. Very important. Make sure that you don't take them. So what people are doing, they're flocking into different places for housing assistance, and you don't have papers in this country, or you have papers, you're on a non-immigrant visa here. When you're going to apply, this is going to be seen. And someone asked me a question: what happens if I lie? You already committed a fraud. Don't do that. If they find it out, you're looking at more trouble. So there's a saying in English that never trouble trouble till trouble troubles you. So the question is, stay away from trouble. And that is your best bet. Be truthful in your application and make sure that you do the right thing. Now, included under current policy as well, exception for coverage of children under 21. If you're under 21, you have some leeway if you took it. Pregnant women, including 60 days postpartum. So pregnant women will have a slight kind of relief. Now, what are not public child benefits? Yes, I know there's a group of people waiting for that. So disaster relief, if you're getting any disaster relief, like the coronavirus relief, you don't have to worry about it. So something of that sort, you don't have to worry. Emergency medical assistant, you got hit in a car accident. You don't have a choice. That's emergency. If you go for that, you can explain it, you should be in good shape. Entirely state, local, or tribal programs other than cash assistance. If the state is offering you a benefit which is meant for everybody, the state will let you know whether it's for everyone or no. That is going to be very, very important for us. So we'll talk about that. Special supplemental nutrition for women, infants, and children. Yes, Basically, that's something that we all understand. It's common man's terms that benefits nutrition for women, infants, and children. WIC programs, you're pretty much good to go. School breakfast and lunch, your kids shouldn't worry about it. Even if out of status, they're in school, that's going to help you. So I know a lot of parents will be concerned about the welfare of their children. They're allowed to eat school breakfast and lunch. Energy assistance is fine. Transportation vouchers, so which means if you have a voucher to travel, that's fine. Non-cash TNF benefits, tax credits, including the earned income tax credit and child tax credit. So if you're getting a credit for children, you're fine. That's not a public benefit. Advanced premium tax credits under the Affordable Care Act. This is brilliant. So under the Affordable Care Act, you are fine. So, there are good things which the Obama administration has done, the Affordable Care Act. And we'll talk a little bit about politics today before we go. And Pell Grants and student loans, any of the programs not lifted. So this is breaking news. So now our viewers are ready for questions. Now let me firstly welcome Mike Miranda. Thank you so much for your question. Please talk about your new office in Jackson Heights. Fantastic, folks. Firstly, thank you to all our viewers. We have more than 35 people working for us. Thank you to all of you. And we have expanded our practice. And from a firm that started 20 years ago, we are up to 35 people. And we have different types of attorneys in our firm handling different types of cases. So we have an immigration department now for you. Then we have a bankruptcy department. Then we have created a divorce and family law department in our Jackson Heights office. Then besides that, we also have an employment law department, and that's going to increase. So it's becoming a law firm for the community. And so that's what the Jackson Heights office is. It's a state-of-the-art office, 3,000 square feet. You must come and visit us, and I love you all. So you all can come in and see our office. It's just a fantastic job by the architects, fantastic job by the interior designers, and fantastic job by the team in designing that office. Thank you to everyone who's worked very hard for that office. And we would have not been there without the good wishes from viewers like you. And I must thank each one of you for your wonderful support in watching our show. So now let's talk about some questions from John Greco from Facebook. Please explain the R visa. Cousin is a priest. If your cousin is a priest, number one is that he should have an ordination certificate. And he should have worked in that religious denomination for more than 2 years. So you have to make sure that he's working there for more than 2 years. And then he should have a church of the same denomination that has to sponsor him. That is very important. So if those factors are met, then if you have a church in the United States that's ready to sponsor him, then you can proceed with that. Now, what does immigration look at? They want to see whether this man is genuinely a priest. They want to see whether he knows the Bible very well. They want to see whether he has actually, been a preacher. If he's a priest or something, if he's preached a lot, they want to see all these factors. They want to see how knowledgeable he's with the Bible, whether he belongs to the Methodist Church, whether he belongs to basically the Lutheran Church, whether he belongs to the Baptist Church. Then after that, they want to see if he goes to the US, he's going to work in the same denomination. Then you apply for the R visa. The good thing is that his spouse and his children can come with him into the United States. Then when he comes over here, then he has to work for the denomination. Then after 2 years, then they can also start the green card process by filing the 360. And then after that, this wonderful priest can qualify for a green card in the United States of America. That's the answer to Mike Miranda. I hope I clarified everything you wanted to know, and I come fully prepared for my shows. Try my best to make sure that I answer your questions. So next question, Yuhani Malik from YouTube. I'm from Ghana and work as an accountant. Where can I find a consulate to get into the US? Well, you'll have to look into the list of consulates for Ghana. You can Google it, find the answer there, and you need to make an arrangement to see the consulate over there. And if there's no consulate, then you need to look at somewhere in the African subcontinent. For example, see whether there's a consulate in Nigeria or who has jurisdiction. You need to review that. We can even call them and email them, and they'll be happy to help you. That's the answer to Yohani Malik. So Anna Packman from Sabre, I need to get out of China because I'm afraid of the government. How can I do this and get to a safe country? All right. So Anna, what you'll have to do, you need to, once if COVID goes away, you need to review the procedure for applying as a refugee. But you can even go to the U.S. Government website. That's the U.S. consulate in China, and look at the application for a refugee. And if not, you can apply to other countries also. Go to the website and let them know that you fear persecution in your country. And if they believe you that you fear persecution in your home country because of your race, because of your religion, because of your membership in a social group, or because of your political opinion, then they will be happy to consider you for political asylum or grant you refugee status to travel to another country. So the follow-up question here would be, should I only apply to America? My answer is no. Consider other countries too, because I know it's not an easy process, but I feel sorry for you that you're undergoing the situation, in your country. And, my good wishes are with you, and keep applying. And as I always say in my shows, when the great get going, the going gets great. Fortune favors the brave, and the Lord is the strength of the strong. So, Anna, thank you for joining us. And if you have some more questions, I'll be happy to take the questions. So let's get back to some other interesting news, from our viewers. Now, let's get back to this public charge thing, because this is very new. This is very much brand new. So the thing is that someone asked me that if I have a criminal record, is that going to be a problem? That's a different law. That does not come under the public charge. That falls under different law altogether. So that is a different ground of inadmissibility. So crime should not be confused with the public charge thing. Two different animals, two different laws, two different things. For a waiver, for a crime, you need to look at section 212H of the Act. For inadmissibility under the public charge, you need to know section 212A4 of the Act. So, I love to recite laws. It just comes to me naturally. So if you know the law, you need to apply it properly and make sure that you cite the correct law. And yes, I do understand that even immigration officers sometimes get confused, about the laws and everything. And, that is very important. So let me take some more questions. George Daniels from YouTube. Welcome, George. It's always a pleasure having you on the show. It isn't clear to me how Trump can get away with what he does to this country. What is the path forward? George, excellent question. Exercise your right to vote. Exercise your right to vote and tell your friends to vote. Make noise on Facebook. And fantastic, since you're asking me this question. Now, people have asked me to discuss politics, and I love politics in terms of what is happening in the country. Now, about Judge Amy Barrett, Supreme Court nominee. What do I feel about her? This is where I come in, and this is where I show that exactly I go for the best of both the parties. I like the nonpartisan approach. I like Judge Amy Barrett. Why? Well, some Democrats may say that exactly she's too conservative. She's like this. This is where I come out and I talk. You need to look at a complete record. She answered questions to Kamala Harris. And what did she say? She said that I may have my personal opinions, but when I'm sitting on the chair, I will have a different opinion depending on the case before me. That was a very good answer. Of course, I have very high regard for Kamala Harris too. I'm a fan of both of them. But what I do, I look at the law under the microscope. And I'm looking at the testimony very carefully. So I think she gave a very good answer on that. That basically, now why do I like Judge Amy? She was very fair on the Dreamers. Now, even if Trump is choosing her, of course, Trump, I don't want to talk about that issue. But this judge is applying the law. So it doesn't matter, you can be a Democrat or a Republican. I like people who apply the law. I like people who do not apply stare decisis. What is stare decisis? That they have to just follow precedent. Precedent means whatever is written in the book. Folks, even Supreme Court judges need to know one thing from Gay. The law is the command of the sovereign. The law evolves with time. And I have high regard for federal judges like Jack Weinstein. Absolutely brilliant judge. He's my hero because he applies law based upon circumstances. The problem is that I've seen judges who know that a family will be destroyed, but they will not apply the law based upon the current facts and circumstances. They'll apply the law that has been given to them. Remember one great saying in jurisprudence: life of law is based upon logic and experience. This is according to Austin on jurisprudence. If that is properly applied, folks, we'll have a better nation. And unlike judges, I'm not talking about Amy Barrett, I'm just talking about every judge who looks at the circumstances of the case and has the power and has the guts to write his own decision. That's a judge for me. Have I been asked to apply for judgeship? Yes, I have been. But I think I'm very happy of being an attorney, and and I'm very happy doing my job and helping people. Next question. So, folks, I think in terms of basically the Trump administration, I would think that it's much better for all of us to come out and vote. Look at what immigrants have done for this country. Look at what they have done. And if we wouldn't have immigrants, we wouldn't have had the United States of America. Why? Read the history of this country. Who owns this country? Native Indians. Native Indians. Everyone else is an immigrant. If he's not an immigrant, his father was an immigrant. His grandfather was an immigrant. His great-grandfather was an immigrant. So please, don't have this kind of thing that I'm a citizen, but I am here to support people who swear by the Constitution of the United States. I'm here for those people who are ready to take the full oath of allegiance to the United States and serve this country. That person is a better American than an American who doesn't want to work and just collect benefits in this country and cry that immigrants are taking away my job. I will not support you because I work very hard for a living and I pay a lot of taxes in this country. So folks, we need to find the balance here. All right. Okay. Mako Fry from Facebook. What are dangerous professions for illegals? What would get us easily deported? Okay. Great question. Number one, anytime you're dealing with working in a marijuana factory, even if your boss is telling you that marijuana is legal, you can work over here, try not to get involved with that. That's one industry which I would stay away from until the law gets properly legalized. So that's one industry. Secondly, any industry that deals with money laundering, cash, something wherein exactly you're being asked to transport those, things. And if you're working in a nuclear facility, wherein if it's a government registered facility, you're well and fine. Also, if we're dealing with any kind of drugs means if someone says that he's a pharmacist, he's not a licensed pharmacist. If you're working for a doctor who's not a licensed doctor, be careful. Stay away from those issues. That is my answer to Mako Fry. A big thank you to Mike Miranda, first question, Yohani Malek, Anna Packman, George Daniels, Mako Fry, as well as basically to my wonderful hosts for today, Dan Levick and Yogesh Sarade for hosting this. And the time is coming to an end. So today we spoke about the public charge, and share the video. This is going to help a lot of people who are applying for their green cards. And if you have any further questions, you can reach us at info@gayilaw.com, or you can call Gayin and Associates. And thank you for your good wishes for a brand new office in Jackson Heights. And you can visit us, and the location is right in front of you, 7409 Roosevelt 37th Avenue, Jackson Heights, New York, 11372. And our phone number remains the same, 718-263-5999. And we've expanded our practice, and we have very good lawyers working in different departments now, including divorce and family law. Then we have lawyers in the employment law section, personal injury, bankruptcy, and death-related matters. And of course, for immigration, you have Naresh and Gehi and Poonam Manas in my firm. God bless you. Thank you for watching this program. The Instant Program is an attorney advertisement under the laws of the state of New York. We will be back again next week with our viewers on Green Card with KE. Thank you for watching. Share this video. And if you have any questions, let us know. And next week, we'll be announcing another very important issue. And we'll also be discussing a little bit about your voting and the forthcoming election. Thank you and God bless you.